Yes. So good evening, everybody. I, Nrupen Madhvani, President PSI, welcome Sri Nrupen Madhvani ji, a very well-known photographer, and all the guests and PSI members to this evening's webinar. We are very proud that Mr. Nrupen Madhvani has accepted our invitation to hold this webinar. And as you know, this lockdown is still continued. So our planned exhibition of International Salon on 25th will not be taking place. So we will be releasing a virtual exhibition images for the benefit of our members and participants. Whenever the lockdown is open and at a suitable time, we will hold the exhibition. And with this, I hand over the platform to Mr. Rajendra. Welcome everybody. Thank you.
Hi, good evening everybody. Good evening all PSI members and all guests. Today we have with us Nrupen Madhvani ji, the renowned advertising and editorial photographer. He has a vast experience of 40 years, and I'm proud to say that his beginning was at PSI. And all of you who have seen our magazine, Click magazine of this month's issue, you must have read the article written by Nrupen ji and the photograph he had so graciously given to us for the publishing. So, Nrupen ji, we look forward to your slideshow, and over to you.
Don't say Nrupenji, please. Rajendra, just call me Nrupen. Thank you for the introduction, Narayan. Thank you for the introduction, Rajendra. I always feel a little uncomfortable when people say renowned and ace and veteran, and just say photographer. That's all I am. I'm just a photographer. I wanted to begin. I also wanted to say thank you to the attendants, people who are present right now. I appreciate it, and it's good to have you there. This is quite a sentimental kind of webinar for me, because when Rajendra called me, he didn't know that I had learned my first course at the PSI.
Yes.
Under the very, very able and passionate guidance of Mr. Belihomji, who I think I owe a huge debt of gratitude, because he made me realize that if the foundation is strong, and his foundation was very strong. He had a book. He had written a book. It was a Xerox typed book with all the lessons, all the information, technical information, compositional, all kinds of things. It was about 50, 60 pages. And I think we were happy to. I still have it, by the way. I still have that book. And what was amazing about, sorry, I'm just going to talk about Mr. Belihomji a bit, because he meant so much to me. What was even more incredible to me at that time because I was diving deep into a very opaque world. You know, I had no knowledge of photography. I had no knowledge. I had no contacts. There was no networking. Uh, and then Mr. Belly Homji, as my first tutor, sort of stopped me from thinking about things that I didn't need to think about and concentrate on what was important, and that is photography. So he opened his doors, the doors of his home to me, because I lived right around the corner from where he used to live. He used to live just behind the Opera House. And I used to visit him at least once a week, even after the course got over. And he had this dark room in his, he had this huge rambling house. Uh, and he was single, you know, he was a widower. And he had this Nepali guy who was his and his wife. They were a couple who were working with him. So it was like, and he loved Western classical music. So in the evening, when I entered the compound of the building, if Mr. Beliumji was listening to Western classical music, it used to be so loud that you could hear it from a block away, literally. So he was very passionate not only about photography but about, you know, various. I mean, he was, you know, we all love the Parsi friends we have, and even though he was so much a friend, you know, a good friend, including telling me how he used to shave, and you know, he used to use. Anyway, let's get on with the. I can go on and on talking about Mr. Belly Homji.
Okay.
You know, I think that footing that it's not going to be an easy journey, but at least I had the benefit of a mentor. So of course, I did the usual things. I bought myself a Patterson tank. I got myself the developer and etc. etc. And I used my bathroom to sort of, you know, load the film, and then I dried the film in the kitchen. I think a lot of us used to do that kind of thing. But I realized that uh, I needed to find work. So I was very fortunate that I got a job in Express, and I worked there for 3 years. My father, I wish I had that camera. I wish I could show it to you guys. But everything's in a mess in my house right now. So it was a Leica, which was already 40 years old when uh, I picked it up. So I started working with the newspaper. Worked there for 3 years with a wonderful, and I learned a lot. And I accidentally meaning as part of a project that the newspaper had given me an assignment. I was supposed to interview and photograph one of the leading advertising personalities in India, the writer, copywriter who was the head, a creative head of an agency, which was very unusual in those days. And that was Mr. Frank Simoes. And, you know, Frank was, he needed some photographs that I had shot of him. So I made 3 prints. And then when I gave him the bill, he practically laughed and he said, Nrupen, are you running a charity? And he went into his cabin and he put out a check for 10 times the amount that I had asked for. So then I realized, and I said, advertising is an interesting sort of option to explore because there's creative work happening there. and there's also money to be made. That's a win-win combination, you know. So I started learning about advertising photography. How do you learn about advertising photography when you don't have any money? Is you buy books from the pavement bookshop, and you start hitting the books, and you start. I had a one second hand light, studio light. Uh, so I used to practice with that, and yeah, it took me about a year of introspection and experimenting with that one light to understand. I think what helped me was the fact that I love the arts. You know, I mean, I was a fan of the Renaissance artists, and I used to try to copy their lighting. I also love to tell stories, so that helped. I think in shaping me as a photographer. I think it's very important to understand that you know, you want to be you want to express yourself in any creative field. I think you need to be able to tell a story. Uh, it may be linear, it may be non-linear, it may be abstract, but there has to be some sort of story there. And we deal in one picture stories, you know. It's not like not like a film, you know, where you're dealing in a story that's an hour and a half long. Here we are dealing with a story that has to get across to the viewer in one image. So I kept experimenting, and then well, trying to get advertising agencies to look at my work, and fortunately, slowly, gradually, I did get my opportunity. And is it okay if I share the screen now? Can you see
Yes,
it?
yes, yes, yes.
Uh, so I'm just going to the presentation where
Yeah.
you know, an agency took uh, well,
You have to share the screen first, huh?
presentation with.
Nrupen, you have to share the screen first. Again, the same process.
I thought I had.
No, no.
Sorry. So here we go.
Yeah.
Are we good?
Yeah, we can
Make it
see.
bigger. Make it bigger.
All right. So I'm going
Now we are
full
good.
screen now.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good.
All right. So yeah, so I'm beginning with a self-portrait because I do believe that you know, I'm still searching for something. I don't know what it is. It's elusive. This goal that I'm trying to reach, and you know, the horizon is very far away. But I think that kind of keeps me going. Uh, Just quickly, I'll explain this shot. I was on a shoot in on the coastal region of Maharashtra in Sindhudurg. It's a very famous place. You get there is a place called Tarkarli over there,
Yeah.
and of course you get this lovely food there too. But I was there on a travel story, and it was late in the night one day, and I couldn't sleep, so I set up this shot. And between me, what you see in the distance is the sea. It's a slow shutter speed, so you can see the waves just a little bit in the foreground below the red light on the.
Yeah.
Uh, but just so that you don't think I'm looking at a highway, I'm telling you it's a sea, and there's a full moon. And in those areas, what they do is they steal sand, right? They're the sand mafia. So there's a beach in front of me. There's about 100 meters of beach in front of me, and then the sea. And on this beach, the trucks used to go by carrying sand to, you know, various places that they needed to go to, basically stealing sand. And I set up the shot. I had I had a couple of assistants with me, obviously. We set it up on a tripod, and I explained what I wanted to do. And we did a test shot. And at this point, I just wanted to say, that when you are involved in anything which you love and you've planned it, something always happens that could actually make it better. And in this case, what happened was when I went and stood there, I heard the sound of a truck coming from my left. So I told my assistant not to take the shot and to wait till I told him to tell him to take the shot, because I knew something was happening. I knew lights would be on. There might be something here. So it was, I think, about a 3-second exposure or something, maybe less. And this is what we got, because the truck moved in, and that red light is the cabin light, which is on top of the cabin of the truck. The white light is, of course, the headlight. And we didn't know what we'd get, but when we saw the shot, I mean, we loved it. So this is one of my favorite self-portraits, actually, because it says a lot about me. Yeah, I just wanted to say advertising and editorial photography. I'm sorry, I'm going a little slow. I know, Rajendra, is that okay?
It's okay, no problem.
Um, so advertising for me is a 60-40 ratio of work that you're doing, which is going to add to your portfolio, which is 60%, if you're lucky, okay, if you're lucky. And 40% you get work that's going to pay the bills. Okay, that's the dal roti shoots, what we call the dal roti shoots. And I don't mind it, because if you get 60% good work done in advertising, it's going to get you more good work, and that also gets you more money, but it's not about the money really. It's about working with excellent people, and improving yourself. Editorial, however, which also I've been doing almost from the beginning of my career, is a 90-10 ratio, because they come to you, advertising agencies come to you with a plan, and a presentation has already been done to the client, and they want your inputs and your value add-ons to make that plan, into a good execution. In editorial, there is no plan, there's no layout. So it's great because it's a true collaboration, and they depend on you to make that plan work. And both of them have taught me a lot. I mean, working for magazines and working for advertising agencies, because there were so many talented people. I can name a few, who, as we go along, I'll tell you who they are. But I mean, a lot of them took a risk with me, because there were so many other more famous photographers than I was at that time, and they still took a risk with me. So I think I was fortunate to work with such people. So this was the campaign, the breakthrough campaign of my career. And again, Lintas, the agency, took a risk with me. I'd never done a shoot for them, not a single shoot. But I made it very clear to them, if I was going to take this on, they said, mother, baby, there's a poem. You have to build the photographs on the poem. The poem's already written. It's been presented to the client. The client is a tough guy. He has, a lot of preferences and biases. So, it's not going to be easy. So I said, yeah, bring it on, because I have some conditions too. And one of the conditions I had was, I don't want to shoot with models. So they said, you're going to find a real model and a real baby? I mean, a real mother and a real baby? I said, yeah, yes, I think I can do that. So they said, we'll need at least two. And fortunately, a friend of mine, his sister, that Chitra, his sister, he was a school friend of mine, and she had just delivered a baby, and I asked her, and she was happy to shoot. And then I told the agency, hey, listen, I found two mothers. Chitra had a friend, and her friend had also had a baby, so I had two mothers and two babies. And I told the agency, hey, listen, I've done this part of the job. Now the second part of the job is you're going to have to pay me for a test shoot. Okay, I'm not going to risk everything on unless you approve a test shoot. So I did a test shoot. They were really, really nice. I mean, the agency said, don't worry, Nrupen, we have the budget. You go ahead. Uh, we want you to do something, which will like sort of blew us away. And well, this is the campaign. Alec Padamsi, I believe, and so I hear he took this. We had art pulls in those days, so he made a large art pull and he walked around the agency, and he said, "This is how babies and mothers have to be shot."
Wow. And it's a very difficult thing to photograph children, isn't it, Nrupen?
Yeah, so what you have to do is you've got to plan the baby's day with the mother,
Yeah.
and there's nobody else in the studio except the mother, the baby, and you,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the way I wanted it.
Okay.
Uh, I wanted total privacy, and the agency said, "Fine, don't worry, we're not going to come there." And so these two, I'm just showing you two shots. There was a series of shots, and it took us about 6 days to shoot six
Oh.
shots. So I took my time, and the agency gave me a lot of room to work. And I think, see, when I realized that uh, photographer sometimes needs to step up to the plate and speak his mind. The photographer has to say, hey, listen, something's bugging me. I need to get a few things done for me to be able to sort of deliver the goods. Now I was lucky. The agency went with me on this. But I'm reaching out to all the photographers who are there, in the audience right now, and professional photographers. And I just want to say that you you must believe in yourself and do what you feel you have to do to, and it's for the client. I mean, you're doing it because you believe in the product too. So you're doing your job. Don't be hesitant. I mean, at the most, what are they going to say? They're going to say no. So, okay, you tried. And this was also for Lintas again. After Johnson and Johnson, I worked with Johnson and Johnson for about 10 to 15 years. And of course, I worked with all the various departments in Lintas. And, it was a long, long association. Um, these are various campaigns that I've selected. I'm going to go through this quickly. Um, uh, Most of the work that I'm showing you right now, the advertising campaigns, all award-winning campaigns. They've all won Advertising Club awards. My association with Kodak has also been pretty strong. Um, I've done assignments for Kodak over a period of years, and it was nice because I was using their film. We all were. So the body of work that I just shared with you, I mean, starting with Johnson and Johnson, that was in, I think, 1985 or 86,
Okay.
and ending with, of course, happy 98. What was also great is, what helped me find a foothold is doing industrial work. I did industrial work too, and one of my biggest clients was ACC, and they released a full page ad like this in one of the daily newspapers in Bombay, saying thank you to me. I mean,
Wow.
how nice was that,
Yes.
Because I've been working with them for about 2 years or something, and we've done some good work together. And then they turned 60 years. It was their 60th anniversary, and they wanted to thank some people, and you know. So this is the other campaign that sort of took me to the next level, because again, the agency, which at that time, I mean, now it's J. Walter Thompson. At that time, it was Hindustan Thompson, and ITC, as you know, is based in Calcutta, and they a lot of agencies came and shot with the photographers in Bombay, because Bombay had a wealth of talent, and so the agency came to me, the creative director, um, uh, you know, had a meeting with me, and he asked me, would you be able to do this experimental route that we're trying for a very, very big campaign. And I had never worked with them before. The name of the creative director was Srirup Guha Thakurta. And Srirup took again, a big risk, but I don't know, he just believed in me. And he said, I'm going to give you a brief, okay? There are no visuals, but we're going to have to construct some things, and I need your help with that. And then you decide how you want to shoot this. So from day one, there was a lot of trust. And from the time we started, this was a case study, by the way. ITC India Kings was a relaunch of one of India's biggest brands. And they right from the beginning to the end of this journey that I had with India Kings was 1 year. 1 year we shot.
Oh.
They used to come down from Calcutta once they had something in hand. In the meanwhile, I used to make the props, the models, this and that, fabrication, whatever was required. And it became a case study for India Kings. I'll show you a couple of shots. This is where we began. We began with the pyramid, perfect structure, so to speak, also a kind of metaphysical structure. They were going into that intellectual route in the beginning for a cigarette, mind you. And they also wanted it to denote a class. So there was the red, that very rich red was there, the royal red. There was gold, obviously, and there was the symbol of something that perhaps India also represented. And sorry, has my PowerPoint? So we did the sphere and we did the pyramid. And these are single shots, by the way. These are not composite shots.
Oh.
This was shot on 4x5, and I had to suspend the ball without whatever I was doing behind the ball, not visible to the camera and to anybody else. So the pyramid, same thing. With this also the same thing. They loved the work. They said yes, but then they go into research. research took about 2 months or something. And they came back with, hey, listen, this is not working. Let's go with just the pack is the hero kind of thing. So, but they said, we don't have layouts, okay? So we are going to work on this. We are going to brainstorm. So they actually used to come, 4 of them from Calcutta, creative guys, sit in my studio. We used to work out the shots. This was the shot that went on India's first photographic hoarding all over India.
Wow.
So if you came down Pedder Road and you had the bifurcation for Haji Ali and the Mahalakshmi race course, in the middle there used to be a huge hoarding, and that hoarding was where this picture was put up. Again, I shot it on 4x5, and our technology had now reached a point where we didn't have to hand paint hoardings anymore. And this was the first one, and it literally blew people away. I remember Mohammad Khan, who was he's one of the most talented creative directors and heads of agencies in India at that time. And, he called me up and he said, Nrupen, did you shoot India Kings? Because I was driving down from Pedder Road and I stopped my car and I couldn't stop looking at it. So, I didn't get, this sort of thing is a reward in itself, because all the hard work that we had put in paid dividends. And of course, everybody appreciated. Again, it won some awards. These were all shots that, 90% I created, 10% with the agency's creative people helping, but they didn't really know what I was doing. I said, okay, listen, I'm going to do this, and you just tell me if I'm on the right track. And it worked out. So, collaboration is so important, whether it's magazine work or advertising work. And when I explained this shot to them, they said, sorry, we don't understand what you're saying. And then, I told them, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is a multiple exposure shot.
Okay.
And when they saw the result, and of course it's on when you get, you shoot a Polaroid and that doesn't really give you a great idea, but then the next day the results come in for the 4x5, and then you see the 4x5 against the light, and it's something else. I can't describe it.
And it was in camera, the multiple exposure?
Yes.
Oh God. Great.
I had, at one point, I had 3 large format cameras. So I used to set up 2 or 3, different setups in the studio with, so all I had to do was take the lens off one view camera and then put it on another one and then take my other. Yeah, it was tedious, but it was fun. Okay, so we're going to move on to cars. Of course, I love cars. Who doesn't? But this was a shoot I did for Better Photography. Asked me to be one of the participants in this urban hunter thing that we were doing for Mercedes-Benz. And they gave me a car for the day. For 2 days, they gave me another car, and they said, hey, listen, there is a driver. You take the car, do what you like. So, yeah, these were some shots that I did.
Oh. It was monsoon.
Yeah, can you believe it? So sometimes, you make, you make do with it. Yeah, it was the monsoons. So now use the monsoons in your favor.
Yeah.
Because the monsoons are also beautiful,
Yes. The other chopat.
Yeah. I had a problem taking this shot because obviously they don't allow a car to be shot over there. This is government property. But the cops who were there that day just happened to be nice guys, you know. And I told them, hey, listen, I'm not going to take time, and I don't even know Marathi. I mean, I wish I knew Marathi, because if I knew Marathi, this would have been a really easy thing to do.
Yeah.
But I guess I managed to convince them anyway in my tuta futa Hindi.
Uh-huh.
I think it took me about 20 minutes for this shot. I was just lucky that the bird flew in, you know.
Yeah. Wow.
This is the E-Type. So we moved from Mercedes now to Jaguar, and this is the E-Type, which is the most classic Jaguar that's ever been made.
Mhm.
And this is the shoot that I did for Jaguar Land Rover. This was in Pune. Ace Perkins is the dealer there, and they wanted exterior shots, interior shots. I mean, I was shooting there for with about 4 crew members, shooting stills there for about 3 or 4 days,
Mhm.
and then another week in post production.
Mhm.
Everything, every single thing you see in this frame, which is movable, has been moved. Okay,
Oh.
every single thing which is movable has been moved. Each and every car that you see in the showroom has been placed there, driven there, parked there, lights on. Uh, this is a very tedious process. I mean, you're communicating with the, you know, the camera person is outside. I'm more like a director when I'm shooting something like this, because I know what I want inside, and I've already set up the shot outside with my crew, and I have to figure out, you know. So I'm not behind the camera. I don't need to be behind the camera. So these are some calendars and covers of magazines. Yeah, I was talking about working with some great art directors and creative directors, and one of them was a guy called Nalesh Patil. Nalesh was hugely talented. I mean, such a fine artist he was. And the agency came to me before. See, Photoshop hadn't come in, right, at that time. We're talking about this calendar is 1992. So there was no Photoshop. What there was at that time was a machine called the Cytex,
Uh-huh.
which a couple of the pre-press houses had in Bombay.
Mm.
So we talked to them and we said, hey, listen, this is what we want to do. The tribute to the women painters, Indian women painters. And we want to insert real people into their paintings. And would it be possible? So, yeah, there was a lot of homework and it worked out really well. I'll just show you a couple of the pages.
It's like recreation of the paintings.
Yes, yes. This girl, this was the first shoot she did. Her name's Sheetal Malar. Sheetal Malar went on to become India's, supermodel.
Oh,
It was her first shoot. Yeah. So each and every little detail. Bhanu Athaya, who won an Oscar for costume designing,
mm-hmm.
the only Indian woman who had ever won an Oscar. Until that time, I think Satyajit Ray perhaps was the only one who had won an Oscar. And Bhanu Athaya was the costume designer for this calendar. So it was a huge calendar. But I didn't feel any pressure because, when the team is good,
Yeah.
you just concentrate on the job. You don't worry about, and Bhanu was a great person to work with. Everybody was cooperative, and, there were no issues at all.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, when you think about it, you say, wow, that could have been pretty stressful, Things could have gone wrong. But at the time, you just try to solve the problems. So another great creative director that I really enjoyed working with, and I worked with him a lot on some really, really good campaigns, was a guy called Gopi Kukri. Gopi Kukri was the guy who created the devil for Onida.
Okay.
And at that time it was really revolutionary because nobody understood how a devil could sell a product.
Mm-hmm.
But the devil was a hit.
Yes.
This was for an Onida calendar with Gopi, and he made that face in front of me in the studio in about 20 minutes without a mistake.
Wow.
This was a cover I did for the Taj magazine with a model called Sushma Reddy, and we went to Rajasthan to shoot this. It was for jewelry, but we wanted an authentic setting. These were the other shots that we did.
The earlier one, Rupen, it looked like a window lighting portrait. This one.
Yeah, see, what I try to do in my work when it's possible is I try to mix natural light with flash.
Yeah.
So I carry a lot of equipment with me. Sometimes I have gear that's like eight cases, eight bags.
Mm-hmm.
So I carry a lot of gear when I'm on a location because I never know what I'll need. I'd rather take a little extra than not to have it when. And there's nobody there, when you're shooting at a an old palace like this. It's huge, and you don't you can't just snap your fingers like you're in Bombay and electrician will come, this guy will come, that no, nothing. You're on your own.
Oh.
So you've got to be prepared, yeah. So you carry more equipment than you need. So again, the same model. In fact, I personally, I wish they'd use this for the cover, the one in the middle.
Huh.
That's the one I really like.
Yeah.
And of course, because people knew I was shooting babies, then they came to me for the cover of, this special issue of Theme magazine. And I did some jewelry work. I mean, I did a lot of jewelry work because it paid the bills, but not my favorite subject at all. I did it because I had to, and I suffered in silence while doing it. But not that there wasn't creative potential there. There was, and I used that, but I never really enjoyed shooting jewelry. So clients used to come to me and they say, Nrupen, we are handing you this job, you do everything. You do the art direction, you do this, you do that, you do the printing, you do everything. So turnkey, they used to come to me and, I used to handle the jobs turnkey. So there was good money to be made.
Okay.
one of my favorite magazines. I've done so much work with El Decor and such a beautiful team. So proactive, so helpful, so collaborative. We've done some great work over a period of 10 years or more. I've done a lot of work for a lot of magazines. I'm just showing you a very select short list.
Mhm.
Okay, so we'll move on to how are we going, Rajendra? Are we good?
Yeah, we
for
are going
time?
good. We are good. There was one question regarding your the calendar you have shot, no? The reproduction of the art. So Shri is asking, how did you get the painting like texture on calendar shoot?
The painting like feeling.
Yeah, texture.
You mean you're not talking about the actual body painting?
No, he's not talking about the body painting. He's talking about the overall texture of that photograph.
Yeah, correct.
Shall we go back to that photograph? Because I don't know which one he means.
At the end, we can go back then. We'll carry on with this.
Okay.
And
Okay.
at the end of the PPT, we can go back.
Was it the Onida calendar that he's talking about?
No, not the Onida
Painting
calendar.
calendar.
The painting,
Okay.
the women painting.
Women painters.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did a lot of body paint. Yeah. We actually painted them. Yeah.
Okay.
For example, the banana seller, the mother and two children selling bananas, Amrita Shergill's painting.
Mhm.
The the two children. We got very dark-skinned models.
Yeah.
That was the first step. And then we also applied a little bit of makeup to make them look a little more dark. So yeah, it was tough for them, but this is we had like planned this, and this was explained to them beforehand. So yeah, does that answer the question?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
So now it's F&B, food and beverages, and yeah, this is the table settings are so important. But this is also an interior shot, but it's also a table setting shot.
Mhm.
And I actually align each and every chair myself.
Oh, they are so perfect, so symmetrical.
Yeah, because even if one is like see, now I can see that the gap between these two is a little more than the gap between these.
Yeah.
It's bothering me. That means I missed that,
Wow.
Another table setting. Bread, cheese, olive oil,
Yeah.
the simple things in life. Of course, this was for the Zodiac Grill, which was, I think, India's premium restaurant. It was as close to Michelin star as we had at that time. So it closed, unfortunately, about, I don't know, 10, 12 years back. But it was really superb food, superb service, very expensive. I mean, I celebrated, one of my birthdays there with my family, and I had to plan the whole dinner in advance, and I had to constantly looking at my wallet because you know, everything you ordered meant, you know, the budget changed, you know. So I started off with, like, let's say 10 rupee budget, but it escalated into, you know, a lot. But it was worth it. It was really worth it. This was shot on a luxury yacht. This was quite a difficult shoot because the yacht wasn't moving. It was just outside, Gateway of India on the water there, and the water was a little choppy that day, and there were two people from the magazine. I think it was Bell Decor, and I had three assistants, like two assistants. So there are three of us, and everybody fell sick except me.
Wow.
But it went off quite well. This is a close-up of ravioli. And this is a thali, just the way you get it in Tarkarli in Sindhu.
Yeah.
This is a typical thali, but with the kokum, and delicious. I mean, it's really good food. This was breakfast in Tarkarli. It's you can shoot food indoors and it can be great, and you can shoot food outdoors and it can be great. But outdoors, you really have to wait for a certain light. You can't just set it up. So again, when you're shooting outdoors, you really have to plan a lot more, because you only have so much time to do it in. This is also outdoors. This is that yacht where everybody fell sick. I was the only one there. And the guy we hired the yacht from, he was there. Thankfully, he helped me. My tripod at one point of time had my camera on it, and it went overboard almost.
Oh.
So fortunately, I saw it and I got it in time, because otherwise it would have fallen overboard. That's how choppy that's how much it was swaying.
And the glasshead didn't topple out?
Uh,
Or you had stuck them?
no, I hadn't struck them actually. I think I was concentrating on the glasses, which is why my camera almost toppled. So yeah, it's right. So of course, I learned a lot about food photography when I went to work in Japan, in Tokyo, with my sensei Hiroyuki Yamamoto-san. And this wasn't shot there. This was shot here in Bombay in my studio. But I was privileged to work, and he was a specialist in food.
Okay.
So I wanted to learn more about food, and I also wanted to learn more about the large format camera. And so it was a trial by fire when I went over there, because I didn't know much. I didn't know anything about the large format. I didn't know how to load the film. I didn't know how to use the camera, nothing. But he was a great guy, and gradually I learned. And also, I think if you're in Japan, you automatically start seeing beauty. You start appreciating beauty, because that's the way the country is. They take pleasure and in small things.
Okay.
Presentation, is important. They very aesthetic people.
Where was this?
in my studio.
Oh,
Yeah, so again, a lot of planning went into this shoot. We had to find a stock photograph of that background that you're seeing.
uh-huh.
Then I have a projector which is fixed to the ceiling in my studio,
Okay.
and I positioned it so that I can project a slide on the digitally on
Yeah.
the back of the wall,
Mhm.
and set up whatever I need, give it, with the right lighting, give it an outdoor feel.
Mhm.
So sometimes,
Great.
it's the jugaad is important, right?
Yeah.
What really made this shot believable, I realized later on, is this grass in the foreground.
Yes, correct. Correct.
So we had got false grass, fake grass.
Okay.
And, when I was taking this shot, something was missing because I was finding it didn't look outdoors enough. And then I realized that, yeah, I could use the grass. And so I placed it in the front and threw it out of focus. And yeah, it worked.
Yeah.
Sorry. Uh, Outdoors again, outdoors. Our Indian sweets, you know, they also lend themselves very well to photography.
Yes. Yes. But here the role of this food stylist is much more, na? In food photography.
Uh, see, working with a great stylist is so important.
Mhm.
Even if I could, make a cake, I can't do both things. I can't do
Yeah.
photography and do the cake at the same time.
Yes. Yes.
So having a stylist who works with you and understands you, and work as a team, it's so important. I work with some really really good stylists. Some of them, of course, you got to be careful of because they want to take over the shoot,
Okay.
and then you got to you got to tell them, hey, listen, relax, let's work together. This is not about you or me. Yeah, this is something that we need to work together with.
Correct.
I think somebody needs to. Mic is. I can hear a bell ringing, doorbell ringing, child sound.
No, sir, everybody is mute.
Anyway, so I don't know. I like the color red somehow, and I wanted to
And
use chilies. Sorry.
the composition is so great. The two chilies on the circle and only one in the upper half circle. Fantastic.
Yeah, yeah, but this is kind of my Japanese influence, but
Yeah.
they don't use chilies. They don't use these chilies.
Okay. Okay.
So this is like I try to make a yin and a yang
Yin
symbol.
and yang. Yeah. I was just going to tell you.
This is what I try to do there. With liquid, I try to get the highlights and do a yin yang kind of thing.
Yeah.
These bubbles here, these bubbles are actually artificial bubbles that I bought from a specialist shop in New York. I'd gone there for a shoot,
Mhm.
and I had read about this shop on 18th Street, Lower Manhattan. And wow, I walked into that shop and it was mind blowing because you get just about anything, all kinds of props over there.
Mhm.
So I bought some ice and I bought bubbles and, a few other things. They're expensive, so I couldn't, buy too much. Come to fragrances. We are doing okay, Rajendra?
Yes, yes, fantastic.
Okay. Any questions? I'd be happy.
Yeah, there are a few questions there.
Please go ahead.
Aniruddha is saying that it feels that you paint your photographs. They have a feel of poetry and grace of Indian classical music.
Thank you, Anil. Thank you. I appreciate that. I
And-
love Indian classical music.
Yeah. Prachi More is asking, tell us more about Greenpeace picture.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good question, Prachi. Good question. Let's go back to the green peas at the end of the session, and I'll take you through it, okay?
Right.
Any other questions?
No, no other question.
When I'm thinking of shots like this, I have to have a thought in mind before I begin. For example, I have a fragrance here called Burberry Summer, right? I want to give it a summery feel. I also want to give it, something more than that. And I love architecture, so I kind of created uh,
Arch.
this window, and you know, it's like you build on the thought to sort of. It's not important for me to see, like in this earlier shot, you're seeing the whole bottle.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's good. In this shot, I decided, why do I need to see the whole bottle? I want to get the feeling across more of summer.
That's why the warm color was.
With this fragrance, yes. Yeah, in this, I wanted to give it a night feel, and I wanted to give it a catwalk feel. It's like a fashion model is standing, just before she gets onto the ramp. So it's all there's a thought, and then I build on the thought. Of course, ITC has been one of my huge clients over the years, for about an association which I think spanned about 20 years. And when they launched the lifestyle brand, Sansa Devils, I was part of the launch series, which again, a lot of freedom I had to do. These Chanel was for a magazine, L'Officiel. Again, a lot of freedom. Love working with magazines always. I mean, it's just great working with magazines. So this was my take on relationships. Actually, it says romance, but it's always a very delicate balance. All relationships. It's not easy. So again, that was where the thought was, and then you build on that. Each shot that you're looking at right now takes about 2 days of pre-production, and then a half day of shooting. 2 days, meaning over a period of, the magazine will get in touch with you and they'll say, hey, listen, let's have a meeting, a pre-production meeting. This is what we are planning to do. Give us your thoughts, and how do we go about it? And, then we come up with the final kind of rough idea. And then, of course, the magic happens when you're shooting. There's very little in the work that I've shown you so far. There's almost no post-production. A Jaguar Land Rover,
Yeah.
yes, the showroom, I had to remove reflections and things like that.
Yes.
So, yeah, and then of course there was the calendar where we did a lot of post-production. But a lot of I consider this my personal work because there's a lot of me in here. Yeah. And if I can avoid post-production, I'm very happy.
Okay.
Okay, so this segment is, of course, interiors. I decided when I wanted to show you, because interiors comes as part of advertising and editorial also.
Mm-hmm.
I decided that I can't show you. I didn't want to show you, one shot of this place and one shot from this place and one shot, and I decided to build 3 stories. Uh, 3 stories or 3 places done by 3. I mean, they're dynamically different places, but all 3 are either chateaus or villas. So what you'll be seeing will give you an idea of the kind of interior work that I do, but also I'm trying to sort of weave a story into each place. Obviously, there's no time for me to. I've done so much work in interiors that it's impossible to show you everything. So I just isolated these 3 houses.
Okay.
The first one is it's a chateau in the south of France, near Vichy. Belongs to a very superb Italian guy and his wife. That's Claudio and Donatella, and they're friends. So they invited me to stay over there for about. I was there in France for about a month, but I stayed with him and his wife here in this chateau for about a week. And I used to wake up every morning, camera, handheld, no lights other than sunlight, and walk from room to room before breakfast. That was what I wanted to do, I wanted to capture as much as I could about, this place that he had spent 10 years refurbishing and actually rediscovering the original.
Okay.
So it was a beautiful experience living there and also photographing it. That is the chateau. It's in a small village.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the towers of the chateau that I'm standing in, looking at a church in the village.
Wow.
These are the stairs on the left that lead up to one of the towers. That leads into the house, the top floor. This is the kind of work he discovered was there. He and his wife, the Contis, when they were refurbishing the house, they discovered the old owner had hidden all this stuff.
Oh.
And there, while they were doing the renovations, they discovered the beauty of the stairs. I don't know. I love stairs. For some reason, I can't describe it. It's just one of those things. So everything is like handheld and shot with natural light. And then after I'd finished shooting it, I gave it to a magazine. The editor was a friend of mine, and he loved the pictures, and it published. And I sent Claudio and his wife about 30 issues, and he was thrilled. That's the couple, Claudio and Donatella. He's a mathematician. He used to be a professor in Turin, and now he's a software engineer, making a lot of money. Freelancing, he does consultations. And Donatella is a therapist. She works with children. This is the second residence. It's in Alibag. It's the Ruya residence called Shivoham. And when the architects got in touch with me, they explained the shoot, because there's usually no time to do post-production. I mean, pre-production. You can't do recce's, okay? For most editorial shoots and shoots for interior designers, 90% of the time there's really no time to do recce's. There's no budget to do recce's also. So you have a pre-production meeting, try to understand. They take some rough shots. They show it to you, and then you decide how long it's going to take. And you enter the house, and then you have to negotiate your way. A walkthrough. You do a walkthrough. This house was 40,000 square feet built up. So that's an acre of built-up house. And I had to shoot it in 3 days. And I told the architects, I said, listen, I do not think I can shoot everything in 3 days. I need at least 5 days for that. And they said, sorry, we don't have the budget. All we have is 3 days. We'll do what we can. So, yeah, that's how it goes sometimes. That's the main entrance. This is how you enter the house. This is what you see. Remember, it's a 40,000 square foot house. They're the same Ruyas who own Phoenix. That family. We see, about interiors photography, one thing that I wanted to say is that you should not be happy with what you see, even though it's so glamorous and everything looks perfect. But when you set up your camera, you are going to move stuff, and that's what takes time. So, I'll keep moving things around till I'm happy with the shot. I'll move furniture, I'll move lights, I'll keep working on it, till I'm absolutely happy. Sometimes the client doesn't appreciate it while I'm doing it, but after they see the result, they're happy. I like to have control over what I'm shooting. I need to own my shoots. I need to feel a sense of ownership. That's my investment in my work. So when this is the spa room, for example, in the house, and these huge vases. These vases were outside the water on the edge, out of the frame in the front, and I I told the architects, listen, I want to put them in the water, and they were shocked. They said, how can you put the vases in the water? And I said, listen, if you don't like them, later on we'll remove them. But can we just see how it looks? And when they saw the shot, they liked it. They belong there, I mean, they don't look out of place. It's very precise, this
Yes, sir.
this symmetry.
Yes.
This symmetry is very, very important. You see the gap between this and this is the same on both sides.
Yes.
Give or take, 19-20 ka farak hai.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But otherwise it's very balanced, the picture. And in a picture like this, you need to have that balance. And that gives it a sense of, that balanced feel also gives you a sense of peace,
Yes.
because you're in a spa. This is supposed to give you peace, right? I don't get, for me, it's just a job, okay? I mean, I can see, a house like this, which is like the equivalent of the Taj Mahal, and I'm not going to start jumping up and down with, excitement. For me, it's just a house that needs to be photographed. It's a job that I have to do. It's a creative job. I appreciate all the work that's gone into it, the details, this and that. But at the end of the day, I don't get sidetracked. A lot of people might look at the house and say, "Oh my God, what am I going to do?" Uh, it's like it is a little daunting. It's a little overwhelming. But I don't know. When I'm doing a shoot, I'm pumped up. I'm in a different frame of mind. So this is the bathroom of the master bedroom, and I wanted to do a shot where I could see the bedroom through the mirror, so that then I can introduce you to the bedroom. This is my introduction to the bedroom. And then I lead you into the bedroom. I've given it. So there's a story. I try to build a story around it.
This is all available light shots.
No, it's mixed. It's always mixed. It's mixed and balanced in a way that will give it the effect of available light.
Oh.
That's the way I like to do it. You see, what happens is when you try to use, I mean, with your naked eye, sometimes the available light looks beautiful, okay?
Yeah.
But then when you photograph it, you realize the shadows have gone too dark. You need to fill them up. Because your eyes adjust for a lot of things, but the camera can't. So then you've got to supplement the light. I don't think I've ever, in all the shoots, interior shoots that I've done, like I've shown you this bathroom, right?
Right.
I'm showing you bathroom number 2.
Okay.
I mean, normally I just try to get out of a bathroom as fast as possible, when I'm doing an interior shoot, because it's usually very cramped, The bathroom is always the smallest place in the house. And there is no, I want to use a wide angle, and then there's distortion. So I use, I had this beautiful lens which got stolen. It was a Japanese lens, Tokina. It was an 11-16 aspherical lens,
Okay.
which I used to use to minimize the distortion when I was shooting in cramped spaces. But in this house, I mean, the bathrooms are so big, you don't need that. And I never rush a shot. I think it's something else that I'd like to sort of say is that don't get pressured into doing a shot faster than you should. Every shot needs its time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying work slowly. I'm saying that don't rush it either.
Oh.
Don't compromise the quality of your shot by rushing. A lot of the styling for a shoot like this is done by me, by the way.
Okay.
I don't have a stylist with me. The architect is usually there, the interior designer. So we work together, but sometimes, I'm shooting a place where nobody is with me. So I'm taking all the calls for placement of products and props and everything myself, which I like doing. This is the bar. They have almost like a pub kind of bar, like an English country. It's a club, a fancy club. This is the bar outside. This is the outside bar. That's where they have dinner, outside, with the water flowing under the table. So while you're eating, there's water flowing underneath your plate. And I mean, it's quite beautiful. There's no doubt about that. And this is the baitak, which is built into the swimming pool. Like a shot like this, for example, I would typically start setting up at about, if I'm supposed to shoot it at about 7 or 7:30 in the evening, I start setting it up at about 5 o'clock. So, each and every cushion, each and every placement of each and everything is done before I actually take the shot. And then, of course, just before we shoot, that's when we light the diyas. One of my favorite architects and interior designers is Pinakin Patel. He's just like, I love his work. And fortunately, he likes my work also. And Pinakin wanted me to shoot this house, another house in Alibag. So I've shown you one in France and two in Alibag, okay? But they're all three different. All three are different from each other. And I personally love this one the best. I'm a fan of Pinakin Patel. He's just incredible. So when he called me and he said, listen, we've got to do this house, I went to Alibag with my assistants and I met him and he took me to the house and he said, okay, Nrupen, હવે હું જાઉં છું, તમે કામ કરી લેજો, હા? મારો કઈ કામ નથી ને, હું જઈ શકું ને? So that's how Pinakin is, Then I'm there on my own doing the shoot. Did everybody understand Gujarati?
Yeah, yes, yes.
My very bad Gujarati, but it's better than my Marathi, that's for sure. So this was the first shot that I took through the blinds. This is a view of the entrance. You can see, you know, the Pinakin's design style is kind of a blend of West and Indian, you know.
Mhm.
He keeps that Indian sensibility in mind. And he uses light beautifully. I mean, fortunately also it was, you know, it was May when I went over there, end of May, just beginning of July. So that time the skies are really clear, and you know, westerly winds have started blowing in to the city, and everything gets really cleaned up. One of the advantages of living in Bombay. And that's really the best time for outdoor photography because you get such clarity. The light, I mean, the light speaks to you.
Hmm.
Even at 12 or 11, you know, the light speaks to you because of the clarity. Some shots take time and some shots happen very quickly. Like this shot, I didn't even know I was going to take. This is the bar area just next to the swimming pool. And I was walking by after, you know, checking out something and going to the next shot. And then I happened to look at the bar and there was this beautiful light. So this was a handheld shot that took me approximately 2 minutes to shoot. Some shots take longer because the sun is setting, you want the lights on, you want the water on, you know, this kind of shot takes, of course, much longer. And what I really like about this house is, of course, that it's at the highest point in Alibag. I mean, the guy whose house this is, he doesn't want his name mentioned. He wants to keep it private. But that's what, I mean, Pinakin requested me not to mention his name anywhere. These pictures weren't even published because the guy wanted his house photographed, but he didn't want to publish the pictures. So I think at some point of time they did get published, but without any details of the owner. What's the beautiful thing is the location. It's at the highest point in Alibag. So quickly, product and lifestyle. Are we okay for time?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
All right. Any questions?
Yeah, there are few.
So shall we tackle them right now or later on?
We can take later on also.
Okay. I'm equally comfortable shooting in the studio or shooting outdoors. I enjoy doing both. But to be an advertising photographer, to be an editorial photographer, to be a complete photographer, you need to have a couple of things are very important. Number one, your studio skills. You must be comfortable in recreating various lighting situations in a studio, or what is also known as um, well, some people call it a white uh, room kind of space. And the other thing I think you need to develop people skills. Um how do you I mean, there is no photography course that I'm a teacher. I've been a teacher now for, I don't know, over 20-25 years. And one of the things I try to get across to my students is, it's important for them to be able to communicate visually, yes, but it's equally important for them to communicate verbally. It's important to be able to convey your thought, because you're always working with other people. So I mean, being the strong silent type may work outside the photography, professional photography space, but when you're in the photography space, then you need to be able to vocalize and communicate your thoughts. So people skills, very important, and nobody teaches that. No course teaches people skills. It's like, in a hospital, the nurses are taught how to take blood pressure and pulse and various other gadgets that they have to use. But is there a course in over there that that teaches them how to hold the patient's hand and make the patient feel more human rather than a patient? There is no course that teaches nurses that.
Yes.
That they learn on the job, and they're human beings. They get tired, but it should be part of the training. People's skills should be part of the photographer's training. I'm not saying that I am the perfect skilled people person. Okay, no, I lose my cool on shoots because I do know what I'm doing. 9 times out of 10, I do know what I'm doing. I interfere or not not sort of be proactive, even if it's the client, okay, or an agency. If I can't convince them, then I just have to do things, because my concern is for the end result. And sometimes there are a lot of egos, that sort of want to dominate and control for the wrong reasons. So it's important to have control, to believe in yourself and what you're doing, so that you can convince other people that, yeah, you know what you're doing also. And then gradually they see what you're doing is right. Otherwise, what are they paying me for, really? I mean, why do I need to be paid if all I'm going to do is follow orders all the time? These, by the way, are all my shots. These are all editorial shots. They're 100% mine. I mean, the magazine comes to me and they say, "Hey, listen, we have these dark glasses, these shades. Let's make a nice shot." So I have a lot of props. I have a lot of stuff in my studio. I may use some of that stuff only once a year, but it helps having it around so that when you do need it, you can use it. So I'm a collector as far as my work is concerned, collector of things. But in my personal life, I'm not so much of a collector.
Okay.
This is the last section, public service.
Okay. Wow.
So thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
That's the end of my presentation. I'm open to questions.
Yeah, we'll take some questions now. Nishant Balutia is saying, every time you speak and show your work changes me up. Very motivational. Thank you, Nrupen sir, and to other panelists for conducting this webinar.
Thank you, Nishant.
Thank you, Nishant. Aniruddha, I believe you set some, where is that? I believe you set some weeks aside for the work you love to do apart from commercial assignment. We would love to see some examples also. Apart from your commercial work, he's saying.
Yeah, so what I've shown you today is only my commercial work, but there is a whole other side of me which is my personal work, which is my conceptual work.
Yes.
Stuff that it's heavy, but I mean,
Okay.
if I try to show you that, after 15 minutes, most people will leave.
But anyway, we would like to see that also, and that will be another subject for next webinar.
Sure. It'll be my pleasure.
Yeah. Aniruddha is saying, I feel as you paint your photograph, your feel of poetry, and that we have taken. Yeah. Very nice presentation. Shashank Ranjit is saying,
Wanted to see that P shot, right?
yeah, Prachi wanted to see that.
Shall we go back to that?
Yeah, we can go back. There is a
So,
series of these, no?
yeah, I did a series of these. This is the one, right?
Yeah.
Can you see it? Okay, so what did you want to know?
Hi, this is Prachi. Well, when I see at the photograph, it moreover the background and the light, and then the two piece outside. Like I'm not sure, was the light glowing from bottom of the subject or was it something else?
Yeah, so I've used light from underneath a non-reflective glass, and I place the peas in the pod there so that I can get the texture of the skin with the backlight. But what it also does in this case is it helps me with the effect that I'm trying to get, which is this kind of motion without motion. And that comes with me taking a shot with just the backlight, throwing the peas and the peas in the pod. All I make it out of focus, so I get just a silhouette which is larger than whatever everything is. So that's my first shot. Then I put my front light on, switch off the back light, and then I focus on the piece and my subject. And then what remains is this weird shadow-like movement kind of thing. So it's a multiple exposure, with the first exposure thrown deliberately large and out of focus in silhouette. And then the second shot in focus and lit from the front.
Fantastic, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Vatsal Purohit is asking, most of your photographs are vertical frame. Is there any reason behind it?
Today's pictures, maybe yes, because they all required either a square or a vertical frame. But no, it's like this one, for example, has to have an horizontal frame. You can't. So where you need a horizontal, use a horizontal. Where you don't need it, you use a vertical. Like this shot can't be. This has to be horizontal.
Yes.
Now, why horizontal as opposed to vertical? It depends on what you're shooting, obviously, and the mood you want to convey. Now, here I want a sense of peace. I want a sense of restfulness. It has to be horizontal. In the earlier one here, there's a vast space.
Yeah.
So then you need. Yeah, no, I don't have any vertical, horizontal rules. It all depends on the subject.
Yeah.
Always the subject. I mean, this baitak, for example, it just won't work as a vertical. It has to. I mean, this shot, it just works as a horizontal. It is a landscape shot,
Yes.
But if it requires a portrait, I do portrait. I mean, it all depends. Or square, I'm okay. I'll be happy with a diptych if I need to do a diptych. I'm open. I don't have any formulas. There's no formula.
Great. So, are there any questions? We have taken all the questions. If there are any, you can unmute yourself and ask Nrupen.
Mr. Nrupen,
Yeah.
Mr. Ian Pereira and Sopanji were there all throughout the session.
Okay.
Ian Pereira has left now, I think.
Okay.
Thank you.
They're
Just
both
informing.
friends of mine.
Thank you for attending, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Great.
The presentation was very good. You have covered many genres of photography, sir.
Thank you.
Nrupen, I must say, each and every photograph you have shown today to us, in itself, it's a work of art. I have no other words to say about that. They are all works of arts. Fantastic.
Thank you. It makes all the effort I put into not only my work but into this presentation that I did for PSI. When you say something like this, now I can sleep well tonight.
Okay, good.
Nrupenji, we are also happy that, see, there are many people who had their beginning at PSI. You are also one of them. And you have reached such a height. You are able to show your work. Now we enjoy seeing your work.
Thank you.
We
And
are
we
really
hope
happy
that
and proud of that.
and we hope that all the new photographers who are connected with PSI get the same height as you have achieved. All the best to all of them.
I also wanted to say thank you to Fauzan, because Fauzan is the one who I think asked Rajendra to get in touch with me. Am I right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to say thank you, Fauzan, for putting me back in touch with PSI.
Keep coming back, sir.
Thanks from all of us also.
Thank you.
And it was great, really great evening. We had with you today, and we hope to see you again with another webinar with your personal work. We really look forward to it. And thank you all who have joined this webinar, this Friday webinar with us. And once again, thanks, Nrupenji.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you, Nrupen.
Thank you.